This morning, I think we have to keep addressing um, the elephant in the room, or the wolf anyway. Uh, it's one of the great absurdities of our age, the credulity with which Western leaders, notably Donald Trump, continue to treat the words of Vladimir Putin as if they bore the weight of honor or intention. Putin, a man whose regime criminalizes Amnesty International while simultaneously launching the largest drone assault on Ukraine in months, is not a neutral actor. He may not even be in charge of the Kremlin. You may just be talking to a puppet. He's not a man seeking peace. He's a master of strategic delay, disinformation, and duplicity. When you talk to Trump, you are talking to an organization that is predicated on evil and distortion. Yet here we are being asked to believe that after a 2-hour phone call with Donald Trump, conducted from a music school in Sochi no less, Russia and Ukraine are now on the cusp of peace. This isn't diplomacy, this is political pantomime, and Putin is King Rat. Putin's Russia is a state built on lies, built on deceit. The annexation of Crimea began with the claim that Russian troops were local self-defense forces. A lie. The Wagner Group activities, nothing to do with the Kremlin. A lie. The poisoning of dissidents, coincidence or perhaps the West's own doing. A lie. This is a president who has outlawed Amnesty International, accusing it of global Russophobic projects, labelled Ukraine's Jewish president a Nazi, used ceasefire talks as a smokescreen for battlefield escalations. As the writer David Remnick once said of Putin, he lies not because he fears the truth, but because he has contempt for it. I would add that he lies also because he's been told to. Because that's what the real Putin did, and that's what the current Putin does. So what does it say about Trump's strategic acumen when he declares an excellent call with such a man? It suggests Trump is a twit. But then we know that, don't we? We are told once again that ceasefire negotiations are imminent. Great. But Putin's conditions remain unchanged. He's not got the power to change them. Ukraine must surrender its eastern regions and implicitly abandon NATO aspirations. This is not peace, this is imperial blackmail. And until we find who is actually making decisions in the Kremlin, I don't see that it's possible to negotiate with anyone. Even Putin's post-call statement reeks of euphemism, a memorandum about possible future peace. Meanwhile, drone strikes continue, missile tests resume, and Russia prepares to engage in a new offensive. It's massing troops along the border, not only the border of Ukraine, but the border of Finland as well. What is it proposing? It cannot be thinking of doing anything good, because that's not within its nature. No. Russia is a wonderful country, be in no doubt at all about that. I will sing the praises of Russia to my grave, which may be sooner than I expect. But if Putin has his way, but the Kremlin, under the authority of this so-called man Putin, is a diabolical institution that is committed only to distortion and to destruction. The Kremlin's tactic is painfully familiar in this talk with Trump. Proposed talks, extract concessions, delay accountability, and press on with war by other means. Without establishing the two things: number one, who is actually making decisions in the Kremlin, and number two, what to do about the laws that made the four oblasts Russian and Crimea Russian, and what to do about that principle that any Russian territory, because they are now Russian territory, that is threatened, could trigger a nuclear attack. Unless we establish and unless we talk about those things, the talks, in a way, are irrelevant. And now, of course, talking is always a good thing. Let me contradict myself. Talking is always a good thing. But these are talks which have no real direction, except to engage with the other side. Now, engaging with the other side is always positive because you engage with humanity in some form. If Putin were there, that would be even greater because you engage with humanity and with an icon. Icons are positive. But Trump, astonishingly, seems content to let the parties work it out. This is like letting a burglar and a homeowner negotiate over the division of stolen goods, while the thief keeps breaking the windows. Actually, what it needs is that iconography. Only the iconography now is likely to move the debate forward. It's not about a negotiation, because the negotiation is blocked. It's about the force of imagery. Can the force of imagery change the direction of history? Yes, it can. A presidential visit to Moscow could do enormous good. A papal visit to Moscow and Ukraine could do enormous good. A meeting between Trump and Putin could do enormous good. Not in what they're going to debate, because they've got nothing to say. Trump can barely construct a sentence, and Putin is a figurehead. The original Putin, I believe, is stuck in a fridge, in a Smeg fridge. But it doesn't matter. It's the image that is projected of these two people, of these two countries engaging in a photo op and talk. That is good. In a country where image is important, where iconography is important, having an icon is better than having a lot of negotiations. Russia always knows what to do because Russia has got no concessions to offer. Russia will simply talk, and it's good at what it does. Be in no doubt. You don't get round Russia by talking. I remember once being given advice not to hold an argument in Greek because I would never win, because Greek was my second language. In the same way, don't have an argument in Russian. Don't have an argument with the Russians because you'll never win. They are practiced at what they do. Now, talk by all means. Trump persists in viewing Russia as a future business partner. Tremendous opportunity, he said, echoing claims from Kirill Dmitriev and other Kremlin courtiers. But Russia is not Singapore. It's a militarized petrostate riddled with corruption, addicted to authoritarianism. And even now, Trump hints at lifting sanctions post-conflict, despite zero momentum from Moscow on its war aims. He promises carrots where the situation cries out for sticks. This is not realpolitik. It's a real estate statesman in a war zone. Putin isn't seeking a peace agreement. He's buying time. He knows that Trump is impatient, that American resolve may waver, that European unity is fragile. He just has to wait. And his performance, the music school setting, the cordial phone call, the nebulous memorandum, is part of a well-practiced drama script. Each act is intended not to end the war, but to shape the narrative for the next scene. That Russia is reasonable, that Ukraine is recalcitrant, that NATO is the aggressor. And for those who cannot see the script, he performs it again and again, with chilling confidence and contemptuous charm. Even allowing a sort of a parallel, oh yes, both boys are bad, let's knock their heads together, is enough to get across some of that deceit, that Russia is reasonable, that Ukraine is recalcitrant, that NATO is the aggressor. To believe Putin is to abandon the lessons of history. Remember the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, or the promises made to Yeltsin about post-Soviet democratic reform. Every agreement with Putin is provisional. Every handshake is a trapdoor. And Ukraine understands this, even if Trump does not. That is why Zelensky insisted on a real ceasefire, not rhetorical theatre. That is why he demanded sanctions, not sonatas. He knows that Putin's vision of peace is one in which Ukraine ceases to exist as an independent nation. Putin has shown us again and again that his word is not his bond, it is his weapon. To take him seriously without verification is not diplomacy, it's dereliction. You don't listen to the devil and believe what he says. Donald Trump may believe he is the man to bring peace to Ukraine. He may well be. But unless he recognizes that Putin's statements are performances, not promises, his efforts will become the last act in a tragic farce. And while the curtain rises on another round of negotiations, the killing demonstrably continues. And look at the facts on the ground. That is what matters. George Orwell said, political language is designed to make lies sound truthful and murder respectable, and nowhere is this more apparent than in the theatre of the Kremlin.